So as before, I've got all the important information summarized here that we just found in the last piece. Looking at all the points along the x and y axis, furthest we need to get to on the y-axis is 3, furthest we need to get on the x-axis is 2. So when I pick my scale, I'm going to pick something that's reasonable, but I'm not going to end up using the whole graph. That just wouldn't be feasible. So like the last example, my x-axis, I'm going to have 2 ticks being 1, and I'm going to do the same thing on the y-axis as well. So now we need to put the points on. Normally we'd start with maximum minimum. We don't have any in this case. We don't have any inflection points either. We do have an x-intercept at negative 0.17. That's about as close as I can get. We have a y-intercept at negative 0.25. About there. Horizontal asymptote at y equals 3. Vertical asymptote at x equals 2. And at the moment, that's all we have to go on. Looking at the function, we see that it's decreasing from negative infinity to 2. So from negative infinity all the way to 2, which is there. We also know that that function needs to pass through those 2 points that are to the left of 2. What we also need to be aware of is how a function behaves when it approaches asymptotes. A function will, if you will, it'll hug an asymptote, which means it gets really, really close to it, never quite touches it. So on the left side here, this function is going to start off by hugging this asymptote. It's eventually going to leave it and pass through those 2 points, and then end up hugging that other asymptote. That takes care of the decreasing piece between negative infinity and 2. We also know that the function is decreasing between 2 to infinity. So that leaves us with the right side of the graph to interpret without actually any points. Now, what could happen is the function could do this and hug the asymptotes like that, but that would mean that the function is increasing. It's moving up left to right. So what the function is doing then, it's going to hug the asymptotes like this. It's still decreasing, moving down left to right. So you do need to be aware that with rational functions, you will always have 2 branches or 2 sections. You may not always have points in both of those sections, but your increasing and decreasing will lead you to where exactly that graph is supposed to be.